Hey there. So today I'd like to do something a little different. I'd like to invite you to knit a little bit with me. I just read today that apparently knitting is really good for your mental health because it's quite repetitive and relaxing. And it reminded me that I have this little project that I started in spring. And as you can tell, I didn't get very far over summer. It's going to be a present for someone who picked a yarn and the specific style. It's going to be a loop scarf in the end. And it consists of these little hearts. They aren't difficult to make, but I haven't done it in a while, so I hope I remember. Let's see. Basically, there's 6 rows for a heart, and we're going to start with the first one now. I'm just going to take my ring off. So we're going to knit and purl, and then we're going to start with the first heart. So we have 4 loops and we want to decrease to 3 loops. So going to knit 2 together, increase, slip 1, knit, and then I think this is called pass over or roll over. And now we're down to 1, 2, 3. Then we purl 2. And we're on to the next little heart. 2 together, increase, slip off, knit and pass over. Okay, we purl 2 and on to the next heart. You might be able to hear some traffic in the background. There's people out there in the streets on their way home after a long day. Getting out of the cold of winter. I like that about the city, that you always know that there's people around going about their lives. I also have my incense burner here that you might know from another video. Okay, hope I didn't make a mistake here. 1, 2, 3. That's correct. So the neat thing about this pattern is that you always know if you're doing it correctly because you can control the number of loops. You just have to know which row you're in. I can link the pattern in the description. However, I think it's only available in German. It might be possible to just put it through something like Google Translate. The results are often quite good nowadays. Just knit 2 together, increase, and roll over. Purl 2, and knit 2 together, slip off, knit, and right, almost at the end of the first row. Alright, and the last little heart. And then we purl, pull the yarn to the front and just put the last loop over onto the other needle. Alright, so now we're going to knit the back row. And we don't have to do anything fancy here. We just knit everything as it comes. So we knit where we see a knitted loop and we purl where it's purled. It's quite easy. So we knit 2 and we purl 3. We knit 2 and we purl 1, 2, 3. We knit 2 and we purl 1, 2, 3. To say I don't knit a lot. I learned it in school where I did some small projects, and then I only picked it up again 2 or 3 years ago during winter. Remember, there was a time when I was ill for about a week, and just didn't know what to do, so I ordered some wool and some knitting needles and started learning it. And I was surprised by how fast I got back into it. It's really not that difficult. Just takes a little bit of practice, but there's plenty of videos online that explain it really well. But yeah, I think it's something that you would do in winter. When you sit down on the couch at home with a blanket and a cup of tea, make it nice and cozy. We need to pull 1, 2, 3. We knit 2, and we purl 1, 2, 3, and there's the last heart. 1, 2, 3, knit 1, and take the last one off. Okay, so now we're on to the next row, and we want to increase, because of course the heart moves outwards. So we're going to purl 1, 2, and then we have the 3 loops of the heart, and we want to increase to 5. So what we're going to do is we knit, we increase, knit, increase, and knit, and now we have 5. Then we have the 2 purl in between, and we're going to continue like that for the rest of the row. Knit, increase, knit, increase, knit, purl, and purl, knit, increase, knit, increase, oops, knit, and purl. The only thing is that sometimes I get a bit too comfortable and a little distracted and forget where I am in the pattern. But luckily this pattern is quite easy, and you just have to check where you are in the pattern to know how to continue. Of course, this is quite a thin yarn, so it's going to be a very light scarf, maybe for a cool summer evening or an early day. substantial. And we're at the last heart. Alright. And for the back row, I'm going to do the same thing as before. So we're going to knit the first two. And now for the hearts, we have 5 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that we're going to purl. I have to say I really like these knitting needles. When I was in school, when I learned how to knit, we had these aluminum needles that make this typical sound. But I much prefer these ones here. They're bamboo and they're quiet. Quite like that. I was also very surprised when I looked up some tutorials, when I noticed that there are different ways of holding the garn. I only know this one, which I think is just called European or Continental. I think there's an English way of holding it where you hold the yarn in your right hand. And there's a completely different one where you pass it behind your neck. So I think that's good to know that you have different options in case the one that you learned initially doesn't work for you. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It really is quite relaxing. Just have to make sure that you don't make any big mistakes. That can be a bit stressful. But so far I've been able to fix everything. And I think even if there's a little mistake in there somewhere, no one's going to look that closely. And usually, not even I can always find it. once I'm done with the piece. It's good to have a pattern like that because it kind of helps hide these little mistakes. Alright, so we're back at the front. We've increased and now we want to get back down to 4 loops per heart. So we're going to decrease. Now I'm just going to look up the exact pattern and then we'll continue. Alright. So we can start off by purling. If I can get it. Where are we? There we go. Oops, it's a bit messy, but never mind. Okay, so 1. Then we're going to pull this one over the knitted loop and finish off with another 2. So we're going to purl 2 and 1. Here's 2, decrease 3 and 4. The funny thing is, I actually wanted to get a sewing machine, so I didn't want to pick up knitting. But I figured a sewing machine's a bit of an investment. You need some space. Fabrics aren't really cheap. And you need to learn how to operate a sewing machine. And I thought I could just start off with knitting. All you need is a pair of needles and some yarn. And if I enjoy that, and if I stick with it, then why not also get a sewing machine? No, it's not quite the same, but I thought it'd be a good test. I can definitely say that I do enjoy it, but I've not been knitting as much as I thought I would. It's just a very seasonal activity. Okay, so we're on to the final row. On the back row now. And again, we're just going to knit and purl as they come. And then we've added another row of hearts. It smells really nice in here from this incense burner. You can see that it's already melted the resin. Really enjoy that. So we're going to, wrong side. We're going to knit the first 2, of course, not purl them. 1 and 2. And then we're going to purl 1, 2, 3, and 4. and pull 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright, and then we can just move along and finish this row. But didn't pay attention. Wait, we have to knit 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, so it was correct. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. So what are you thinking about the cup of tea that I'm going to make afterwards? Then I think I'm going to get cozy. It's already dark outside. You can see all the lights, the houses across, all the windows. Just something I do enjoy. All the decorations in winter. Right, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think the hardest part is always once you really notice that it starts getting dark really early. But I always feel like there's a point where I get used to it. And then I can enjoy these 2 hours of dusk. There's something very beautiful about the light. Alright, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and there's another row of our hearts. It'll take a couple more hours to finish this, but there's no hurry. Maybe I'll be able to do this by Christmas, but if not, that's okay too. The color's more for spring anyway. Alright. So, thank you very much for joining me today. I hope that this was relaxing for you. Maybe you feel like picking up a project too. Or if you already have one, tell me about it. I'd love to hear about it. So, until the next time.